What is an eerie town or place where you felt completely unwelcome, and why? Hayden, Arizona, a small mining town that is slowly transforming into a ghost town. People still live there, but all the stores are either abandoned or burned down. Random houses throughout the town have been burned down. There's even a house burned down across the street from a fire station. There are curfew sirens in the town as well, like a real-life Silent Hill. Years ago, I stopped in a little town called Brandywine in West Virginia. I walked into a bar and right away everyone turned and glared at me. A couple of good old boys asked me if I was looking for trouble, and if I wasn't, that I should move on. I left the bar, and a sheriff car and 2 trucks followed me out of town. The dude in the sheriff car glared at me all the way out of town. I thought I was going to get lynched. Wilcannia, New South Wales. Arse end of nowhere. If you're ever on that road, stop overnight in Broken Hill instead, much safer. We spent the night sleeping in a car in Wilcannia in 1988. I was 11. There was something wrong with our car, so we were stuck there. I vividly remember a few key things about the place. As we were approaching the town, I saw a river. It was actually shining broken glass. The shops had bars on the windows and fences like fortresses. People were asleep in the street during the day. I remember playing on a playground with my brother and talking to local kids. They were nice enough and keen to chat and play with us, but overall it felt unsettling. If we were unsafe, my folks didn't let on, but my dad was a policeman. I'm surprised no one has said Pulaski, Tennessee. I was visiting a friend who goes to college there, and while I was hanging out with them and some of their friends, they'd all tell me not to go out after night for any reason. They were all really hesitant to explain why. After a while though, they tell me it's because the KKK still patrol the streets in that town. It turns out that's where the KKK was founded, and they still have a strong presence in the town. Centralia, Pennsylvania is eerie as hell because you'd expect to find people walking around the town streets, yet the town is completely abandoned due to a fire that's been burning under the town for 70-ish years. Can you explain how a fire burns under the town for so long? It was a coal mining town, but there was an accident and part of the mines caught fire. Coal being coal will burn and smoulder, so the fire has been burning slowly for decades now. There are areas where you can see smoke rising from cracks in the ground, and there are signs everywhere warning people because the ground is unstable. Covington, Virginia. I used to drive a lot for work a few years ago, and about twice a week I would find myself in Covington. The first thing you notice is the smell. It was like drinking hot dog water, but you were breathing it in. That was caused by pollutants from the paper factory there. About 20% of the people who live there work for said factory, and factory work is not all rainbows and butterflies, so it makes sense that people there wouldn't be too happy in the first place. All that aside, I drove by GPS for the most part, and before I even noticed the smell, as I was coming into town, it just fell off, like someone was watching me or following me, but of course no one was. I don't believe in the supernatural, but that place freaked me out so much, I'm talking Evil Dead type of feeling. Thankfully, I am no longer in that line of work, and I will never step foot in that town again. Troyes, France. We were in the old medieval area, which was incredible, but it was eerie because there were literally no other people there, and bizarre because there were sound systems pumping Britney Spears music into the streets. I felt like Shrek and Donkey walking into Duloc. I was moving cross country and driving my own truck. I stopped at a Walmart in the middle of nowhere in Arkansas to resupply on a couple of things, and by the way the locals acted, you'd think Satan himself had just walked through the door. Everyone stared, at least 3 people followed me around. I was dressed in black and do have a thick beard and visible tattoos, which adds up to looking like trouble in some people's books. But I didn't do anything wrong, and wasn't wearing something with anything objectionable or offensive on it. It was totally uncalled for. Just say hello, I'm really nice, I promise. Big teddy bear, that's my whole thing. During a training course in Boulder, Illinois, a mixed-race Dutch guy visited a restaurant with my Latino co-worker, a British instructor, and one local guy. We went cruising through the Rocky Mountains and ended up in Nederland, named after the original settlers. It was a Friday night, the place was packed with families, music was playing, and people were having a good time. We came through the door and everyone stopped talking and stared at us. I swear the music stopped as well. Our local friend was the last one to get in, and he just yelled a jolly, "Howdy folks!" The music started playing again and people continued their talking. Felt like a scene from Blazing Saddles. Next time I'm in the States, I'm hiring a small town tour guide so I can get to all the cool spots without being sacrificed to Kid Rock or whoever they worship in those towns. Learnt in this thread, if I ever go to the US, to stick to tourist spots. The rest sounds fucking mental.